The Integrated Review of Security, Defense, Development and Foreign Policy, often known as the Integrated Review, and titled as Global Britain in a Competitive Age, is a review by the British government into the foreign, defence, security and international development policies of the United Kingdom, described by Prime Minister Boris Johnson as the largest review of its kind since the Cold War. The review was published on 16 March 2021 and will be followed by a defence white paper on 22 March. The review first began in October 2019 with a publication date set for early 2020. However, the COVID-19 pandemic caused it to be delayed several times. A number of preliminary decisions were published in November 2020 ahead of the review's full publication on 16 March 2021. The review sets out the government's vision for global Britain, the UK's role in the world following its withdrawal from the European Union. Its four overarching objectives are for the UK to sustain a strategic advantage through science and technology, for the UK to shape the open international order through working with partners and international institutions, for the UK to strengthen its security at home and abroad, and for the UK to become more resilient to threats at home and overseas. The review identified Russia as an active threat, China a systemic challenge, and climate change the UK's highest international priority. The Integrated Review replaces previously separate reviews into foreign policy, defense, national security and international development, such as the National Security Strategy and the Strategic Defense and Security Review. It combines the scope of these individual reviews, making it the largest such review carried out by the UK government since the Cold War. Set to be released 5 years since previous reviews, the Integrated Review comes after the United Kingdom's withdrawal from the European Union. Its subsequent, Global Britain, ambition, the 2019-2020 Persian Gulf crisis, the rise in space warfare, the COVID-19 pandemic and consequent economic downturn, several terrorist attacks and the use of hybrid warfare, particularly by Russia and China. It was announced by Boris Johnson that the Foreign and Commonwealth Office and Department for International Development would merge in September 2020. Before the completion of the review, in September 2020, Defense Secretary Ben Wallace explained that the review would deliver an armed forces that was fit for tomorrow's battles, by switching from traditional warfighting to technological warfighting. He explained that this would entail being forward deployed, for example, in Europe to deter Russian activity, in the Middle East to combat terrorism, or in the Asia-Pacific to counter China, and relying on technology to deliver speed, readiness and resilience, instead of mass and mobilization, including in the domains of space, cyberspace and sub-sea. Today the government is setting out its approach to the Integrated Review of Security, Defense, Development and Foreign Policy. The government has set in train the biggest review of our foreign, defense, security and development policy since the end of the Cold War. In a statement in September 2020, Prime Minister Boris Johnson confirmed the Integrated Review would be underpinned by a commitment to spend at least 2% of GDP on defense, as defined as a target by NATO. 0.7% of GNI on official development assistance and the maintenance of the British nuclear deterrent. The Prime Minister summarized the review's objectives as follows. The review first began in October 2019 with a publication date set for early 2020. However, the COVID-19 pandemic caused it to be postponed indefinitely. The review subsequently restarted in July 2020 with an unspecified publication date. A call for evidence was published on 13 August 2020 by the Cabinet Office. In October 2020, the review's future was reportedly in question following a decision to implement a separate spending review, which would cover 1 year instead of 3. Due to the economic uncertainty caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, a new publication date for February 2021 was then set but was subsequently missed, and a new date for March was later set. In November 2020, Prime Minister Boris Johnson announced an investment of £16.5 billion into defence over 4 years, representing a share of over 2.2% of GDP. As the first conclusion of the integrated review, reported as the largest military investment in 30 years, Johnson stated, "This is a chance to end the era of retreat, transform our armed forces, bolster our global influence, unite and level up our country, pioneer new technology and defend our people and way of life." The investment amounts to an increase of between 10–15% on the current annual budget of £41.5 billion. The full review, titled Global Britain in a Competitive Age, accounting for over 100 pages, was published on 16 March 2020 by Prime Minister Boris Johnson.